Oh gosh.
So
Okay.
this article is from Korea. Short sellers under siege everywhere have it really bad in Korea. So I, I mean, I don't think I have to say that the hot topic around the U.S. and the world is what happened with the GameStop stock, the stonks, and AMC and all those that they were shorted by some hedge funds, and this
Mm-hmm.
Reddit community found out about it and drove the price like it was. I think I saw it was like 1,000 times more than it had started at, which then makes the hedge funds lose millions, if not billions, of dollars. Um, and so that whole situation is being seen around the entire world. And I didn't know that a few countries have actually made short selling illegal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and right now, Korea is one of those places. It's a temporary ban. So, as the article goes through and says, during times of big volatility, so after the housing crash, um, so in 2020, during the pandemic, the government will put a halt on short selling because it basically ruins the economy. Um, and things have like the economy has gotten back to normal and is doing so well that now that the Korean government sees what's going on in the US, they're mulling a permanent ban on short selling in the country would be and it that would be the only country in the world, I think it said, that would have a ban on short selling, which would be kind of amazing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. What do you think about this whole short selling situation and maybe Korea being the first to ban it outright?
Um, I actually, I actually think it's a good idea. Let me explain why. Um, I'm all for free market capitalism, free market politics, but once you learn a little bit more about it, you start to realize how much uh, freedom is actually taken away. And what I mean by that is by large corporations, by financial governmental financial institutions, where they have so much say in um, interest rates and um, stock pricing just by flooding the market with certain things. And I mean, there's a lot of detail. I took some courses on this. I took a course on the global financial crisis. I took a course on taxation through the government. I took a course on taxation through big business. And it's really amazing to see what they can do to actually swing things, which is, in my mind, is not necessarily free market. When you're controlling something, that's not allowing fair competition and all of these things. So I'm when I see what happened with these Redditors that were able to influence something and then people on Wall Street get pissed off, I just think, well, you do that every day and they were able to do it themselves. So why are you complaining? Like, it's because they lost a bunch of money, but
Yeah.
they do that all the time.
Well, it's like I forgot the saying that's like rules for thee but not for me kind of thing where
Yeah,
these
definitely.
redditors were able to play the game in the way that the hedge funds have, and then the hedge funds are like, wait a minute, we don't like this.
Yeah. Well, and if you if you learn about the the financial crisis, 12 years ago, you actually learn that the people that really made money, and this is explained in the movie The Big Short too, the people that really made money were were actually responding to the market how it is supposed to be responded to. They saw that there was going to be a problem, and then invested appropriately. But there was so much backlash from financial institutions because they were playing this game and they were getting caught in their own game, and it all came tumbling down, and then certain people made tons of money,
Yeah.
but they were pushing against that because they had manipulated it so far, and because they had manipulated it, they didn't want to lose all that money. Of course not.
Yeah. Well, the
um
the darkest part about this whole thing is in the article it says, well, it says that like the head of a Korean retail investor advocacy group called short selling evil, and people are protesting against the practice of short selling. But meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, so the big dog in all financial uh, circles, has urged South
mhm.
Korea to end its short-selling ban, saying it risks making the market less efficient and tougher to hedge. And so he goes on to quote him, saying, since financial conditions in Korea and the functioning of the market following the COVID outbreak have now stabilized, so now that everything's good again, why don't we just try to do this stupid concept to maybe ruin the market once again? This whole thing has shed a light on all of the institutions and all of the government organizations that we thought were on our side, and like even the Robinhood app, where everybody thought the Robinhood app was the good guy, and it turns out they're actually working for the hedge funds, or seemingly working for the hedge funds. And it's
Mhm.
just like it's like finding the guy behind the curtain in Oz, where it's like it's
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's just so ridiculous, like how blatant all of this is. And the thing that makes me um, sad the most is that nothing will probably happen. Like nothing will change. Like people will forget about this in a few months with the next big story or something, and then it's like the remember the Occupy Wall Street. Nobody remembers Occupy Wall Street. That was a big deal, and people had legitimate gripes. But
Yeah.
like you talk about Occupy Wall Street now, and people are like, "Oh yeah, the hippies hanging out at Wall Street." Like, uh,
Yeah, I do think that people are going to forget about it, and that is truly sad. Um, and it's going to continue, just like how AAA bonds that screwed up the financial system 12 years ago, they're still around, that are listed as these excellent investment opportunities, and yet they're crap. And so, yeah, I don't think that it's going to change, and it is sad.
yeah,
But I think that I applaud Korea for trying to stand up and say, hey, we're not going to do this.
yeah.
I think that it will take a lot more countries, institutions, organizations to be able to make a change. But yeah, it's crazy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, if it does happen in Korea, the problem is investors will have to find new ways of trying to make money, because interest rates are basically at zero, and they can't make any money on money in accounts and such. Um,
Yeah.
so I am worried that maybe that will move to the real estate market, which is already on fire and just
Yeah.
a, a,
Yeah.
a garbage pit. So that's the only negative to this. That if this happens, a lot of the funds and managers and such, they're gonna have to find ways to make money, because um, yeah,
You
it's
mean
all
instead of
about growth.
ripping people off?
Instead of ripping people off in the short selling way, they'll have to find ways of maybe ripping people off in a different way. And I mean,
Yeah.
these guys are sharks, and they will find a way.
Yeah. And again, don't get me wrong. Investment, I think, is a necessary part of our lives. I think that the financial system has its purpose, and I think that I'm not just dogging on everything, as far as the financial system is concerned, but there's definitely a lot of shady stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, people, you got to make money, so they'll find a way.
That's true. That's true.